Oh yes, this is the big story of the day. Funeral directors are now exposing the death certificate frauds behind CV deaths. Before I get into that, if you're new here, tap the red button down below to subscribe, then hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when the latest news is published. Project Veritas today released a bombshell video featuring their investigation with funeral home directors and their staff throughout New York City, questioning the number of deaths officially attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic. Casey Porch, CNN insider who previously exposed CNN's blatant bias within their network, will be joining me shortly with commentary on the latest Project Veritas investigation. So stick around for that. Now, continuing with this investigation, it began in late April. A Project Veritas reporter spoke with Michael Lanza, the director of Staten Island's Colonial Funeral Home, and he went on the record declaring, quote, that they're writing COVID on all of the death certificates. Then he went as far as to state de Blasio could be inflating COVID death tallies to milk the federal government in order to bring more money to New York City. Quote, whether they had a positive test or didn't. I think, again, this is my personal opinion, I think, like the mayor and our city, they're looking for federal funding, and the more they put COVID on the death certificate, the more they can ask for federal funds. Take a look.
To be honest with you, all of the death certificates, they're writing COVID on all of the death certificates, whether they had a positive test, whether they didn't. So I think, again, this is my personal opinion. I think like the mayor in our city, they're looking for federal funding, and the more they put COVID on a death certificate, the more they can ask for federal funds. So I think it's political. So I'm going to turn around and say, like not everybody that we have here that has COVID on a death certificate died of COVID. Can I prove that? No, but that is my suspicion.
So you think that they're just putting it on everyone who's dying?
They're putting it on everybody's death certificate to make life easier for them, because like the causes of death get proved right away. If you write COVID, I mean, listen, they're just pushing things out because they're overwhelmed, and it's just easier to write COVID on everything. That's my opinion.
So this isn't like, we're not the first case of this happening?
Oh, absolutely not.
How often do you think this has happened?
Quite a lot. Quite a lot.
So you've seen
I couldn't give you a number, but quite a lot.
Okay. So you've seen other families at your funeral home?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen causes. I've seen people, say COVID in the family, somebody never tested, we don't know, and they're writing it anyway. Because if, the law allows them, like, if it's in their medical opinion, it allows them to write it. So they don't even have to prove it.
So do you think that they're doing it to help the mayor, or?
No, I think they're doing it to help the mayor. I think the mayor is ordering it from down, because the more deaths that they report from COVID, the more money they can go and ask the federal government for. They put 100 COVIDs, I'm going to tell you all 100 people didn't have COVID. How can I tell you what percentage? No, but I can tell you this is what they're doing.
And they're not even testing these people for COVID.
They're not even testing these people. If the doctor thinks you had COVID, he's allowed to write it down.
Absolutely horrific details there in that first clip. Now, the Staten Island funeral director said it did not add up to him. Now, Josephine DiMaselli, president of DiMaselli & Sons, a Queens-based funeral service, told Project Veritas journalists there that a Supreme Court justice got involved in one case of a non-COVID-19 death that was listed as a casualty of the pandemic. The sister of the deceased woman called DiMaselli and told her late sister suffered with Alzheimer's disease and was not treated for COVID-19. Listen to this.
I just buried. I just came back a little while ago from Long Island National Cemetery. When they called me from the nursing home, they said, "Did Raymond have COVID-19?" They said, "Well, no, it was variants of drive, but we're assuming they all have it." Well, I used to assume that when I went there all in the hospital, she had no answer. "I can't answer you," she said. They put down on Raymond's death certificate, didn't have COVID-19.
Wow. Oh my, who's this woman?
I was at a nursing home in Dutchess County.
Wow. And they're just assuming just because...
Because a couple of people had it, so everybody has it now.
I just wonder what the point of that is.
But, there's no way to prove it because if they put it down and the person was not autopsied, you don't know. I had one that was autopsied because the sister was furious. And apparently, and I don't know who the Supreme Court Justice is, but the Supreme Court Justice was related to this family. And she says, I know my sister didn't die of COVID-19. She said she had Alzheimer's and they didn't suction her. You have to suction because they forget how to swallow. And right away they put down COVID-19 on her death certificate, and this Supreme Court Justice, whoever it is, contacted the hospital. They did an independent autopsy. Bingo, no COVID-19.
So there you have it. James O'Keefe said Project Veritas continues to investigate the handling of the COVID-19 pandemic at the federal, state, and local level through both undercover journalists and insiders. And speaking of insiders, CNN insider for Project Veritas, Carrie Porch, joins me now from Florida with insight into this latest Project Veritas investigation. Carrie, welcome to the Next News Network.
Awesome, Gary. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, sir.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, and the work you have done has really laid the groundwork for a lot of insight into what's actually happening behind the scenes at CNN. But now we're looking at what's happening behind the scenes at a lot of these funeral homes in New York City, which we believe to be just a microcosm of what's happening nationwide. What's your initial take on this investigation coming out of Project Veritas?
I thought it was a fantastic piece of undercover journalism, first and foremost. Myself and several of the people, internet personalities and pundits left and right and center, we've always kind of wondered if maybe there's certain padding of the numbers to just boost it, whether it's politically or, whatever the motivations might be. And James and his team actually got on camera and recordings from actual funeral directors and presidents of death care industry types of businesses that are either being pressured either by sheer volume or politically pressured from above, admitting to it, like, hey, not everybody that comes across our desk has COVID. Many people weren't even tested. It's just basically the assumptive clause that if you come in with a fever or a sniffle or anything like that, it's just a rubber stamp of COVID. And again, this definitely, New York's got its own problems. I mean, people talking about mass graves at Hart Island, and even though those have been used for over a century or whatever and this and that, it's good to have that hard evidence, that hard-hitting ground journalism that O'Keefe and company present. It was a fantastic piece of journalism. It
certainly was. What do you believe the long-term ramifications of padding these numbers, not just in New York, but it's also been alleged here in my state, in Illinois, and I'm sure certainly other states and large municipalities are experiencing similar things. What do you think the long-term ramifications for the padding of the numbers will be, especially when it comes to the bottom line, when the federal taxpayer is eventually the one who's going to foot the bill?
Yeah, it's a crazy circumstances that's coming up. I mean, there are reports and rumors. I don't know how factual they are at this point. I'll let the non-community kind of dive into that. But there are reports that hospitals get, either several hundred or several $1,000s per COVID case or death. Again, I can't speak to the verified of that. I know it'll come out in the wash, but that can certainly be a financial motivation and a political motivation. Just like anyone, I and many others, we know that COVID's a bad deal, but we just want accurate reporting so we can attack it from the best possible answer to move past this.
Now, being a member of the Project Veritas team, obviously you're a CNN insider, and your work there, you exposed the bias from within, which was pretty devastating, to say the least, I'm sure, in some of those meetings they had after you left. But I'm sure you partake in some of the meetings. We know this is a multi-part series with Project Veritas. Are you able to give us any inside information on what we could expect next in this investigation as it moves forward with Project Veritas?
I mean, I wish I could give more than is already out there. I mean, the team out there in New York is fantastic. I mean, they've always produced good products. I don't want to ruin the suspense or surprise. Whatever James and team has in store for subsequent releases on this and other stories, I know it's going to be a good day to stand by your computer and smartphones. Well,
Carrie, we're very happy that you're able to join us here at the Next News Network. Do you have any final thoughts related to this investigation and, of course, your own work?
No, I work back. I just got a normal job after the whole CNN Veritas drop. I'm just trying to live a normal life with my new wife and new baby. But I definitely love the work that you, James, and all the other independent creators and news outlets are doing. Just keep up the good work, and let's continue to wake the people up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carrie. And congratulations on your new marriage and your new baby. Huge steps, huge milestones in any person's life. And we want to make sure that you have all the blessings bestowed upon you that your life deserves. So thank you, and God bless you for that.
Thanks, Gary. You guys have a good one.
All right. That was Carrie Porch with a CNN insider with Project Veritas. You can go to projectveritas.com to find out the latest information. We want to make sure you do, because they have more investigations going in to New York, behind the scenes, getting the actual numbers, trying to figure out exactly what's happening, and they're doing great work. So comment below with your thoughts. We'll see you at the next report. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi.